Well, welcome back. Packing the Supreme Court, Democrat lawmakers are pushing a new proposal now to add 4 additional justices to the Supreme Court. The legislation expected to be introduced later today. The co-sponsors of the bill include House Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler and Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey. Joining me right now is former senior advisor to the Clintons, NBC Partners CEO, and Stagwell Group President and Managing Partner, Mark Penn. Mark, great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us. A lot of Democrats threatened that they would do this during the election period and after the fact that President Trump was able to name 3 Supreme Court justices. Your reaction to where this goes?
Well, it's really puzzling that given the fact that the president launched this commission, whose probably whole idea is to get cover for a proposal like this, that Democrats would make a proposal like this right now. I mean, well over 70% oppose any kind of court packing. Not only that, but the Supreme Court right now is pretty well liked. It's liked a lot more than Congress. And if there was a fight between Congress and the Supreme Court, people actually find the Supreme Court to be at a 60% approval rating, a lot more popular than those members of Congress.
So, Mark, what do you think the odds are that they could push this through? I mean, look, it doesn't matter that, apparently people don't want to see this and they're comfortable and they like the Supreme Court the way it is. Many people didn't think the $2 trillion spending plan earlier in January was the right move because it was only 10% COVID related. A lot of people are saying another $2.25 trillion spending with this so-called infrastructure plan. And yet they're able to get these things through, whether it's through executive order out of President Biden or through reconciliation. So what are the chances that they could push this through regardless of how anybody feels about it?
Well, in this case, reconciliation will not work, so they would have to break the filibuster in order to put this through the Senate, because there definitely are not 10 Republican senators for this. But I think the Republican or the Democratic moderates in the House and the Senate would oppose something like this. This is really favored more by the left wing. I don't really think this can get through. Because of that, it's really puzzling to me they're even making it, because I think they're going to draw a lot of firepower, against them, as I think they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's also puzzling to see Joe Biden come out with all of these calls for unity and turn around and do everything one-man show or one-party show. And that's what we're getting so far. I want to get your take on reaching across the aisle. The Journal this morning out with an op-ed titled Biden's Strange New Bipartisanship. They write about the $2.3 trillion infrastructure proposal, saying that the thesis seems to be that if polls say it's broadly popular, then it's bipartisan. Though 0 Republicans voted for it, Biden's governance so far makes Donald Trump look bipartisan and unifying. Mark, your thoughts on where all of this is going? This agenda is not unifying at all.
Well, I think it's a little bit more double speak to try to define partisan bills passed 100% by Democrats as bipartisan. I really would like to see them really sit down and try to negotiate these bills, but that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing a couple of phone meetings. I know the Problem Solvers Caucus, is coming in and meeting, but are we having real negotiations, real give and take, like I experienced with President Clinton in the 90s, where we got stuff, the Republicans got stuff, we compromised? It's not what we're seeing. And I think trying to define pure partisan bills passed in Congress as bipartisan is laughable, because we live in a representative government, and that means that the opposing party is supposed to really study, give a judgment on bills, explain them to the public, compromise in committees. We're not even seeing regular order for trillions of dollars of bills.
Well, I'm really glad you mentioned that, and you mentioned President Clinton, because that is spot on. President Clinton, when he recognized and saw the room changing, he read the room, if you will, and saw what he needed to do, he came to the middle. And he recognized that in order to actually bring people together and move the needle, you needed to debate and negotiate. But, Mark, what's going on today? Are the progressives running the party? They certainly seem to be running this agenda. Who is running the country, and has the entire Democrat Party been hijacked by the extremists?
Well, I think certainly you're seeing the administration put forward proposals much farther to the left than I really imagined or that seemed consistent with the campaign. I mean, a lot of people complained about the alliance with Bernie Sanders, but that really turned out to be true. The real question here, I think, is are the Democratic moderates going to, really bring these bills in line with something reasonable? I think the attitude of the first bill was, look, the administration needed to win one. It had COVID relief in it. Let's let this through. I think a lot of Democratic moderates realize another $4 trillion in spending and tax cuts and tax increases, rather, could really put them in danger in the midterms. So I think you're going to see them stand up here, and these bills are just not going to sail through. They're going to be tailored somewhat more. How much? It's not clear yet.
And you have to believe that there's a reason that the Republicans are raising so much money. We're going to talk with Kevin McCarthy in a little while about another amazing quarter that he's had in terms of fundraising. The people are reacting to this radical agenda and wanting change, it feels like. We'll see what happens in 2022. Important elections there. Any thoughts there real quick before we go, Mark?
Well, if I were a Republican, I wouldn't count my chickens just yet. The Democratic administration and President Biden does have a 60% approval. They do like what the administration is doing on the virus. The economy is improving. So it's going to be a much more complex situation here. I don't think it's going to be as simple as, hey, every midterm things flip.
Fascinating. Mark, great to get your insights as always. Thank you, sir. We'll see you soon. Mark Penn joining us this morning.